Hi, I'm Kathleen, and I'm a third year law student and was a teacher, and now I also tutor LSAT. I help students, especially those who learn differently, to break down the LSAT into clear, teachable strategies. And in today's video, we're going to discuss the best study schedule for the LSAT success with an 8-week plan in mind. So let's dive in. So the best study schedule for the LSAT using an 8-week plan, and at the link tutoring for LSAT, we have 8, 12, and 16-week plans. So in this one, we're going to look at an 8-week roadmap. And what you want to do is break it down daily and weekly using benchmarks for every section, focusing on tools that work and keep it simple, and putting in place a review system so that mistakes become something we learn from. And we want to also use budget-friendly resources because we're all trying to get into law school, and that in itself is so expensive. So this is built for busy learners who need structure, timing, and focus tools. Okay, so what you need, low cost options. So the LSAT, let's talk about this first. The LSAT Law Hub has the past test available, and that is a resource that's a must. I think it's a great one. I used it a lot when I wrote my LSAT. You also want to use your phone as a visual timer. Don't think about it as going to time the whole test. Initially, just get yourself almost a baseline of how long it's taking you in the beginning as you start to work through questions. And you're going to see that as you start to put systems in place and use the steps that we show you, you're going to see that time's going to reduce. But you want to look at what you started with for a time on each question. And that way you can both get confident in your success as those become quicker, and also you have something to look at for breaking down the test. You'll see over here for timing benchmarks, kind of what I'm talking about. You want to have a breakdown plan in place when you go to do the exam that you're going to spend so many minutes on so many questions. So once we get past kind of teaching you the tools and strategies, then we're going to also map out kind of how long you'll spend on each question. And then we'll independently practice that as well. So that rather than looking at the whole test as the time allotted, we're going to look at, really narrowing it and getting your each question down to the right timing for you. The other thing you want to have is a mistake journal. So this is so important. So when you don't get a question right, we're going to go to the mistake journal. We're going to put it under the question type. So is it a logical reasoning or a reading comp question? Then we're going to break it down again. Is it a strength and weakening question? What type of question is it? What part of the question did you misidentify? That type of thing. So you're going to break it down and really analyze your mistakes. And then you're going to start to see as you log these into your mistake journal, you're going to start to see a pattern of what you're doing each time. And that's going to help you to identify what to do differently. Flashcards. So in different times throughout the tutoring, it'll reference the tool of flashcards. That's really about helping you identify question types, question stems, answer choices, and you can use those flashcards to kind of micromanage or micro learn those little pieces that become instinctual for you. The whiteboard and scratch paper, I think, is critical as you learn to map out your reading comp passages. And then your study tracker. So that's a Google Sheet that's going to keep you on track. Or, if you if you join the link tutoring that we offer, we email out a package each week to help keep you on track. So every Sunday, we send out the package for the week that will have in it your study notes, your videos that you need to review, and your practice questions. So that's another way to look after that. Optional noise block out. I know if you like to study with a TV in the background, so some of us do that, noise blockers, or maybe with your headset on, maybe you've got a playlist or a location, a desk space, something specific to you that helps you really get into the study mode, I guess it is. Okay, so weekly rhythm template. So you want to establish each day kind of what part you're going to work on. So this suggests that Monday you're going to do logical reasoning drill, Tuesday logical reasoning drill and review, Wednesday becomes reading comp day, and then Thursday you do a mixed, and then Friday your time sections. And then Saturday a deep review, and Sunday complete rest day. Now, recognizing that that schedule may not fit you because perhaps you have work obligations, care obligations, whatever it might be. But you can, massage this around so that this schedule fits you better. And week one, you're going to take a diagnostic test in the first week. So this is just a test that's going to show you your starting place and your starting score. Do not stress over this score. We do not care about this score. The only reason we care is because we're going to build off of it. But if you score low, don't worry about it. The LSAT is not a test that you're supposed to know how to take. The average person doesn't know what they're looking for until you take a course like this, and then you know what they're looking for on this test. The trick about the LSAT is it doesn't assess the same things that you were being assessed on during your undergrad studies. So it's really a different way of thinking, and that's what law school is. It is a different way of thinking. So you're going to take that diagnostic test with no stress behind it. Just do your best. If you get a great score, awesome. If you don't stress it. We will build on it. Then we're going to start with your mistake journal. So as you start to retake sample questions, you're going to build that mistake journal with what section, what question type, what you think went wrong, how you can fix it for next time. And then we're going to do learning passage mapping. So under reading comprehension, that's a section we do a lot of tutoring on, is to help you map out what to identify and what to look for in that question. You're also looking at creating, the flashcards that will look at question stems, question type identification, and common fallacies. Okay, so week two, we have accuracy first. So this is important. I know timing is a big thing, but we really want to make sure you're getting it right, and then you can keep practicing it to get it faster. It's kind of like working out in the gym. If you're doing the exercise wrong before making it quicker, you want to really build on the accuracy piece of it, making sure you're doing it right. So logical reasoning. Two sets of 10 questions, untimed or lightly timed, whichever, but you're aiming at getting them, 80% right using the different tools and strategies that have been taught throughout the course. And then reading mapping out of each paragraph in 2 to 3 words, main idea, contrast, and the evidence, mapping those through. And then the end of week one, you want to do a time section, rotate full review. So meaning that you can do, a time section, not the whole exam, but maybe a reading comp time section. A focus tip here is make sure that you're doing 25 minutes of studying, 5 minutes of stretching movement. So you don't go past that 25-minute mark without a break. And then body doubling or, studying with a partner or a co-working stream, an online thing where you're maybe just messaging back and forth on questions. Something we do to help with this body doubling is offer unlimited email questions. So you can email us at link with as many questions as you have as you're studying. And we will often send back to you additional study notes around those questions or some videos or just some comments to help support you and keep you on track. Week three, pacing and your easy wins. So at this point, we want to really stack you with some good confidence building questions. And you're kind of starting to think about, increasing your pace at this point. You should be mastering mapping of reading comp. And we do have some specific training pieces on that. And there's some videos on YouTube as well around mastering the mapping of those reading comp passages. In logical reasoning, identifying the question type is really important here, and being able to sort through those answer choices and really looking at your stems. End of week two, your time sections and what's your weakest. So end of week three, we're looking at what's your weakest point at this. When we look back over your mistake journal, what are we seeing as patterns? Another focusing anchor here is underlining conclusions and circling your contrast words. And we cover that more in depth in some of the other lessons available too. Week four, keep going. You are halfway there. So we want to do a drill each day of logical reasoning and reading comp, and you want to start timing it. At the end of week four, your big study day, you're going to do another full-time test. And you want to really prepare yourself, use your tools, watch your timing. And again, remember, this is just a quick YouTube video to help you get a feel for what your studying schedule could look like. And we do have all the resources set up and in place for you through the LINK tutoring system. Week five, reading comp, lift and stamina. So focusing on 2 passages a day, mapping them and hunting out the correct answers, learning your question families, looking at main point, inference, function, and tone. In logical reasoning, you want to target drilling your 2 top weakest types of logical reasoning questions. And at the end of the week, you want to do two time sections, one time reading comp section and one time logical reasoning section. And you're really at that point breaking down and hammering in and making sure your questions are fitting into your timing. And again, you're practicing how you're going to do this on the day of the test. So you're running through all of your systems at this point. Skim strategy. So scan for contrast, option, cause and effect, and names and terms. And that's week 5. So as we move into week 6, full sections and analytics. So do full-time sections this week on separate days. After each of them, do a deep review, label misreason, logical, misread, timing, and carelessness. So you're looking for things that you kind of got panicked on or moved quickly through. Be boldly honest with yourself. This is not a time to worry about your ego. If something went wrong in your timed sections, break it down. Let's talk about it and let's find out why. Write a one-line fix you'll apply next time. So, if you, for example, misidentified something, let's talk about that. What part has kind of psyched you out? Why did you do that? If you panicked over a question or skipped it, why did you do that? Let's look at the whys behind it. So now we're going to update the flashcards with new patterns and focus reset, 60-second box breathing between sections. So just taking a minute to clear out the energy and refocus. A big part of the LSAT is being able to stay in the game and stay focused and not let your mind wander and not let you kind of get distracted. So that's an important tool that we want to learn. Week 7. So refinement. So 2 full practice tests this week on different days. And this is about endurance. Going into week 8, we're not going to do any practice tests. So at this point, this is now you're working on your 4th or 5th full practice test. You're stimulating conditions. So you're really zeroing in on it, being quiet, no digital interference, no using your phone, taking the proper breaks that will be available to you on the test, really following that test day protocol. So let's do a protest score autopsy. So where did the time slip? Which question types and which games or passages became more difficult to you? Write your game plan card for test day. So the order you're going to do it in, your skipping rules, your benchmarks, your timing, those things. So that's week 7. Now week 8 is moving into the week potentially before exam. So we're going to tape and sharpen. So one full pretest earlier week, that was week before, then shift to short target drills. You're going to redo previously missed logical reasoning and reading comp passages, make them faster and cleaner. And the only way to do that is to practice. You just need to practice and practice, but not to the point of exhaustion. So I remember we're doing 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, no more than an hour to 2 hours at a time. The day before, no tests, light mapping, confidence list, that's all. Practice something you know you're good at the day before. The test morning, brief warm up, maybe a little. You want to make sure you've got good rest. So you've got your sleep in, you're well hydrated, you've got a good workout in, you've got a strategy, you've mapped it out, and you're ready for this. Okay, so focus and timing toolkit. See our little guy, he's lifting the toolkit for us there. So 5-minute starter, open notebook, write today's 3 tasks down. 30-second skip roll. Mark and move, rescue time for later. So if you get to a question that bogs you down and you can't see what you're looking for in that question, mark it and go to the next one. Use a visual timer, so view at all times, but don't get stuck on the time. Go back to it. Movement micro breaks. So every 25 to 30 minutes, stand, stretch, and breathe. If then clause. Okay, if I freeze on a question, then I mark it and I jump to the next one. No big deal. Reward loop, small treat playlist after each block. So you finish a block, you get a coffee or whatever your treat is. All right, we're going to learn from our mistakes. So mistakes in LINK are a good thing. At LINK, when we teach about the LSAT, we like our mistakes because we turn them into wins, right? So it's a review system. So for each wrong question, we're going to name the type. Was it a weaken, a group, and a tone? Why did I miss it? The logic, misread it, the timing. Did I read it too quick? Did I label it incorrectly? Did I map it out wrong? You're going to look for a pattern so you can watch for them next time. And you're going to do a mini drill of this similar questions, 3 to 5 of similar questions, and just keep working through them until you're both seeing where you made the mistake and where you can take it the right way. You want to weekly reread your mistake journal and see your highlights in it. That mistake journal is so critical. By the time you ace your LSAT, your mistake journal should be full of things you've, noted, analyzed, and improved on. Okay, so two schedules, pick yours. So there's a standard, 10 to 12 week following specific slides, or there's your busy 6 to 8 weeks. So, you set up the schedule that works best for you, but it's important that you do schedule it. Consistency beats marathon cramps. I cannot say this enough. The concept of having that last minute cram in for information, we need to let go of that because both for the LSAT and for law school, that you need to consistently plan in advance and be prepared over last minute cramming for assignments and for tests. So accommodations and wellness. So let's think about your self-care as you do this, because you have to be in the right mindset and exhaustion or frustration will not work. So consider LSAT accommodations if you think that could be identified for something like AHD and have additional time, or if you have an IEP or learning, speak with me and I can help you with the accommodations, how to complete the paperwork to get an accommodation on the LSAT. It's definitely there for you and it's possible. Make sure you have appropriate sleep, hydration, you've had something to eat. When you have the right sleep and you've exercised and you're feeling good in all other areas, your timing will improve just because your brain is ready and it's able to work in a better way. Practice test day routines now. So you want to in advance. It's kind of like if you've ever ran a half marathon or a marathon, you don't want to go in on the day of the run and suddenly change something. You want to know, like I've done a long run before, and these are the shoes I use. This is the struggles I had midway through. Same thing with the LSAT. So you want to eat what you're going to eat on the day of. You're going to, practice everything about that day in advance. Your weekly snapshot. So focus on your goal. So weeks 1 through 2, we looked at accuracy and foundations. So timing was not a huge thing for the first couple weeks. And then weeks 3 to 5, we wanted to look at pacing and kind of getting those sections better. Week 6, we looked at the timing starting to come in and the analyticals. Week 7, we really wanted to look at your full practice tests and what that looked like, working it out, getting your strategy put in place. And week 8, we were really just sharpening on those things that continue to be a challenge. You do not need perfection, you need a repeatable plan. So you really want to start to get a handle over you're consistently getting the right answers. You're consistently putting a strategy and using your tools and putting those things in place and getting the answers. And that builds your confidence and your mindset, and that's what gives us success. So I think the 8 week is a real intense plan. I like to see it stretched out over 16 weeks instead. I think this is a big investment, but often when people come to us for the 8 week plan, it's because they've already done 8 weeks previous and they didn't have great success. So we're really just honing in. They've already got familiarity with the test. The 8 weeks is usually a repeat situation or you're just polishing up. We do have the 16 week and the 12 week plan as well. And this is something you can build on either sides, but I do think it's a good place to put your foundation in place. Okay, so a little review of the resources. Again, Law Hub, using those old tests, and they do give you results there as well. That's important. Explanations and breakdowns from YouTube and using our emails. If you belong to our to Link for the tutoring, you have unlimited emails and getting that feedback is important. Quiz decks, Quizlet for decks and using, uh, cue cards as well. Accountability, meaning a study buddy or a weekly group. That's what I like about our tutoring plan where we send out the weekly package. That kind of keeps you working on what's been sent out each week and gives you some accountability. So subscribe. So if you want this plan with weekly lessons, drills, and office hours and accountability, join our LSAT program. The link is in the description. It's really simple and really affordable. And let's make your timing and your focus a strength. Thanks for listening. If this tip helped you, I'd love for you to join me for more. Hit subscribe so you don't miss out on the next LSAT strategy that we share, and check out the free study notes and resources that we've put together for you in the links.